Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today is a little bit different of content. Today I am sharing our first day of homeschool with you. I've had some of you be very interested in a lot of my recent summer vlogs where I've been talking about planning the homeschool year and books that we're reading and stuff like that. I've had a lot of you be interested and say that you would like more homeschool content. So while this will still primarily be a booktube account, there will be little bits of homeschooling stuff sprinkled in here and there. We actually do use a very literature-based curriculum. Well, several actually. I kind of piece stuff together. So it's very booktube adjacent. We read a lot of classics. Our main curriculum that we use the most of is Ambleside Online, which is a Charlotte Mason curriculum that we really like, but we don't use everything from that. We kind of do our own thing for science, and we use Simply Charlotte Mason for geography, and we just add and take away kind of what we want. And then for language arts, we use Brave Writer, which is also literature based. So I thought I would share our first day of school with you. We're trying to get back into rhythms and routines, and I have like an ideal schedule of what I would love for my days to look like, because over the summer, because I had surgery and just because it's summer, discipline and all kinds of things went out the window, and there's a lot of things that I would like to get back into the habit of doing regularly, most especially like exercising and getting up earlier to get some more reading in before I start my day and all of that kind of stuff. So that sounds wonderful, but I slept like an hour and 15 minutes longer than I intended to. So that's already not off to the best start, but it's okay. I just did like a shortened version of what I'd like my morning routine to look like, but I did work out as well. So that's really nice. And so the plan of starting school at a certain time is also kind of going out the window because we're running behind schedule, but that's okay. I am going to make Claire our traditional first day of school breakfast, so I'll share that with you. Normally I don't really make breakfast because she's older, but I do on the first day of school. Then we'll take pictures, which will also set us a little bit behind, but that's fine. And then we'll start our day. So I will just share kind of like what our first day looks like, and, you know, approximately like what time we get done, and also, you know, kind of like what our afternoons and evenings look like. And I don't know that this is going to be what it's like throughout the school year because this is just the first day of getting back into a routine. Our last day of school was like mid to end of May, so it's been a while, and we were so not in a routine the last month of school because we were just so ready to be done. So it'll be interesting getting back into the rhythm. I always find myself like mourning summer and wanting some more time of summer, even though it's not my favorite season weather-wise. I love just the relaxed, unstructured vibes of summer. But then usually once we get closer to school starting, I start getting really excited about going back to school, and that's definitely how I started feeling as of yesterday, which usually I start feeling that way more, but I definitely felt that way yesterday. I'm really excited this morning, and we have lots of new books that we're going to be starting as well. So I'll give you a tour of our homeschool cart at some point and kind of show you some of the books that we're planning to read this term. And I think that's it. So I will just pop in and out of here throughout the day and show you kind of what our first day of school looks like.
Sorry, the lighting is not the greatest, but this is our first day of school traditional breakfast. Banana oat pancakes. They're super easy because you just put them in the blender. It's like a banana, a couple of eggs, some almond milk, some oats, cinnamon, baking powder, salt. I'll link the recipe in case you want it. But this is a good like special breakfast because I don't make breakfast for Claire that often because she's big enough that she just gets her own breakfast most of the time. But I make this every year for the first day of school, and I have since she was like in kindergarten. So it's a fun like special breakfast, but because it doesn't have a bunch of like sugar and stuff in it, it still is good and doesn't cause like her blood sugar to plummet or anything like that after eating it like cereal or cinnamon rolls or something like that might.
So this is where the magic happens. Gus and Dexter are both here, ready for school, obviously. So this is actually like our family area, and there's our homeschool cart, which I'll give you a tour of that in just a second. But normally the couch is pushed way farther back because we have all this room back here, and our desk and everything back there. And normally we have it pushed so we have like a ton more room here. But my in-laws came and stayed with us and they bought these cots to sleep on instead of an air mattress or an air bed. And so we've left them set up because we have family coming in this weekend for Claire's birthday party and it's way more comfortable. And so we just left it set up and so there's room, but it's kind of nice because Claire can just chill and do her independent work on this. So it's kind of comfy for that. And Giselle, our elderly cat here, she really loves this. She like pretty much never moves off of there. Are you having fun?
What? I must fall asleep doing my school.
So, almost time to start, but I did just want to share with you my homeschool cart. So, some people have these on BookTube for like their TBR, and I've never used one for my TBR or anything like that. But I do have one for homeschooling. So it's not as organized as it could be in terms of like according to like subject or whatever. I just have like bigger books up here and smaller books down here, which are kind of weird because I moved it around normally against the wall, but the lighting is behind me if I leave it where it was. And then on the bottom shelf here, I have books that we're not doing like right this second or that are like much more spread out. So on the top, I have these books. Maybe I can pull them out while I'm doing this. I have Material World and Hungry Planet, which we use for geography, and it's amazing. We use Simply Charlotte Mason for geography, but those books are amazing anyway. We have Abraham Lincoln's World, which is one of our main history spines this year. We have Answering the Cry for Freedom, which I mentioned in a recent video, and that is about African Americans who assisted during the Revolutionary War and then goes, I think, through civil rights maybe. And then we have a history timeline notebook, which I love these. They're made by, oh, I can't remember her name. Oh, it's in here. School Nest. I follow her on Instagram and she made all these different notebooks. So we have the history timeline notebook, which we've never used. We've had it for a couple of years, so we're gonna try to start using it this year, but this is an example of one of the pages. So we have that. And then we have Science in the Beginning is our main science spine this year, which is through Burian Builders, and Jay Wilde is the one who does it. And he does like Apologia Science, which I loved as a teenager in high school. And then we have a science notebook from School Nest that we use as well. We have a couple random things in here for geography or whatever. We have this, which Claire does know multiplication, but she doesn't have like the quick recall, especially after the summer. And so we've tried everything. We've tried songs, we've tried flashcards, we've tried all kinds of stuff. This has games, and I have a friend that this worked really well for her daughter last year because I just want like the instantaneous recall. So we have this. Then we just have our binders. So Claire has a binder that has her geography and some other things in it. And then she has the 6th grade notebook, which I really, really like. So every page has like a dot grid on one side and then line on the other. So sometimes she'll do picture narrations or drawing or things like that. And then on this side, she'll do written narrations, copy work, whatever else that she needs to write down. And it's all pretty much in one place except for science, which is its own notebook. Then we have my binder, which is this right here, and this has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Has our picture study stuff in it. It has our hymn of the month, which we use Happy Hymnody for that. It's got our poet for the term. It has all the stuff I need for my Brave Writer Arrow Guide, which is what we use for language arts. And then this next shelf down here, I'm wondering if I can put this down a little bit so you can see a little better. Sorry, jerky. There we go. Now you can see better. So this just has like various books that we are reading. So we've got some history stuff here, actually through here, I think. No, this is all history right here. Most of which Claire is reading independently, but a few that we may be reading together. And then this is kind of the only science book that we're using from Ambleside Online. Since we're using Science in the Beginning, we're using Wild Animals I Have Known, and this is one of the books that Claire is the most excited to read because it's about a man's like actual experience when he experiences animals that he met on Manitoba's plains, New Mexico's ranges, and in Toronto's ravines. And so it's his reflections on nature. Then we have our literature picks for this term. So King Arthur, and the green ember is what we're using for our Brave Rider Arrow guide. And this is the other book that Claire is the most excited to read. We have Bullfinch's Mythology, which is a carryover from last year. It spreads over the course of multiple years. Same with Tales from Shakespeare, but we are going to try like real Shakespeare plays this year. So we're going to start with As You Like It. And that's those. Then this is a geography read for Claire Quantiki. And this is what we're starting with Bible. We used this last year and she liked it at first and then didn't like it as much because it kind of had a lot of busy work that she just wasn't a huge fan of. But I really like how it shows how to like inductively study the Bible. So Peter's talking about potentially teaching Claire a systematic theology class, but he wasn't ready to start that right off the bat with school, and he's going to be starting school up again soon as well, so we'll see if that happens. But this is what we're doing in the meantime. It's the third in the series about the book of John. So then on the bottom shelf we just have, I'll have to tilt it, we have, these are books that are going to be later in the year, most of these down here, and then we have a Bible, all of Shakespeare's works, and Plutarch, more Plutarch. All of these, I think most of these right here are for geography. They're set in just random places in South America that we'll be studying. So we have one that's like for Cuba, one that's for Argentina, and stuff like that. So that is our homeschool cart currently. The only other thing that's not on there right now that was just next to me is I have a clipboard here. So this is like her copywork passage for the week. So I teach grammar off of this, and then she copies things and we work on spelling and punctuation and handwriting with all of that. And then also on this clipboard, I have our Ambleside Online schedule. Some of the things are switched out. Some of the things we're not exactly doing. So most of the things that we're not doing, I just erased off of there, but some of them are just kind of spread out weird. Everything that's highlighted is stuff that she's doing independently, and then the other things are things that we're doing together. So that's my homeschool cart, and it's about time to start. So I'll keep you updated as to what we end up doing today. I'll show you probably some clips of the books that we're doing together, and then maybe what she's doing independently today. I also just want to add, in case anybody was wondering, looking at the homeschool cart, Claire's main spine for math is actually teaching textbooks, and she does that on the computer or on her tablet. So there's nothing on the homeschool cart for that. So the only math thing on our cart is just the multiplication games that we'll be working on to try to cement the last little bit of the times table that she has to think really hard about. And she just does everything else on the computer for teaching textbooks. I switched to that the middle of last year when I just needed to take something off my plate, so that way she could do something independently and give me a little extra time. And math is what I decided to do that with, and so far that is working really, really well for her.
For your flank in your rear, that's where surprises begin. For the rustle that isn't a rat, for the splash that isn't a trout, for the boulder that may be a hat.
All patrols, look out! For the innocent knee-high grass, for the ditch that never tells. Look out ere you pass, and look out for everything else. A sign misread as you run may turn retreat to a rout. For all things under the sun, all patrols, look out! There's a last paragraph for you.
Look out where your temper goes at the end of a losing game, when your boots are too tight for your toes and you answer and argue and blame. It's the hardest part of the law, but it has to be learnt by the scout. For whining and shirking and jaw,
all patrols, look out!
have finished all of our schoolwork together. You may still hear there's Beethoven still playing in the background. So Claire has had lunch and is working on her independent work. I'm about to have lunch. It's around 12:30, so wasn't too bad for all her stuff together, but she has some things she has to do on her own, some reading, some narration, a geography lesson, some math stuff, and some copy work is her independent work for the day. So while I'm eating lunch, I'm trying to decide, do I read Oathbringer as a break and a reward? Or do I dig into some more Plutarch? Because we're not going to start Plutarch this week because I need to read some more of this. I am planning on starting Shakespeare this week, but I'm going to wait another week until we start Plutarch, until I feel like I kind of have my footing just a little bit more. So I'm trying to decide if I do the responsible thing or if I do the fun thing for reading during lunchtime.
Usually performed with a broad comic effect that set the people in a roar. Not so on this occasion. Meditating in bed that morning, Scaramouche had decided to present himself in a totally different aspect. He would cut out.
So it is now around 5 o'clock. You can probably hear dinner sizzling, making tacos. It's Taco Tuesday apparently, because it is Tuesday, and we are gonna watch Nacho Libre with dinner, which Claire's never seen, but it's like one of my husband and I's favorite movies. We quote it all the time. It's just really stupid humor if you haven't seen it, but it's a lot of fun. So we figured what better way to end the first day of school than with tacos and Nacho Libre.
The children need a real hero.
I thought you hated all the orphans in the whole world.
Not anymore. I liked it.
So it's around 10 o'clock and it's time to start my vlog here. I think I have my tea and I'm gonna read some more, and that's the end of a day in the life. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. This channel is not going to become a homeschooling channel. So I'm gonna be mostly talking about books, but I did talk a lot about books today. So there's that as well. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below if you have any questions or I don't know, anything you want to chime in on homeschooling wise, especially if you're a Charlotte Mason homeschooler, we probably have a lot in common. Not that we're purists, we kind of dabble here and there. But anyways, it's been really fun to do this. I don't think I've ever done a day in the life vlog before. I don't think I've done like weekend vlogs, but I don't think I've ever just done one day and literally like documenting my entire day. So this was an interesting and very fun experience. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish and occasionally homeschooling content from me. And I will see you again next time.